Hi everyone. So wanted to do a video on retirement and why people invest and what they need. So typically when we first speak to someone on the very first call, what we try and get out of them is their main motivation for investing. Now, when we speak to everyone, the first thing they say is, well, I want to make more money than I'm making in the bank. That's a typical answer. However, there has to be something more than that. There has to be some form of emotional reason why you're buying. For example, it might be for the kids, university funds, grandkids, university funds, extra holidays, pension in latter life. But typically, the main one that we have, over 70% of our clients say pension. They want to have something later in life that's going to fund them right the way through retirement. Now, importantly as well, when we ask a lot of people, oh, great, no problem at all, when are you looking to retire? The answer is, I don't know. So we typically have someone who has a goal of retirement, but there's no plan put in place. Now that's normal. That's not something that's abnormal for the clients that we speak to. It's a normal process that many people in their 20s and sort of 30s don't think about retirement. As soon as you start to get to late 30s, early 40s, you start to think, well, actually, if I've only got 20 years worth of work left, what kind of pension have I got? So it's a normal kind of thing. So what we would say now is this article in the Telegraph, which has spurred this video on, he said, what would a comfortable retirement cost? Now that would cost sort of $305,000. We don't think that. We think it's actually a lot more. A comfortable retirement, it says obviously, is the end goal. And they're saying savers need their pensions to provide £12,000 a year. Now, what I would actually say to everyone is, if you suddenly had your wages, now you've got to take your mortgage out of this because this assumes that you've paid the mortgage off. But if you got to the, if you'd paid your mortgage off and you were earning £12,000 a year, would that be enough to give you a comfortable lifestyle? If the answer is yes, then no problem at all. If the answer is no, then what you need to think is actually, what is going to be comfortable? So, for example, a lot of people, they get to retirement and they think they'll spend less. Well, actually, they want to do more. They want to do things like they want to actually go out for meals. They want to go out on those holidays. And what I've noticed with clients and, of course, family members as well is when they hit retirement, they suddenly don't have that disposable income. Everything gets that little bit tighter. So what you actually want is more freedom when you retire. If you've got all that time off of work, what are you going to be doing with that time? You don't just want to sort of sit around all day. We've been doing that for the last year of lockdown and look how that's gone. So what we want to be doing is being able to have that flexibility to, if you want to go abroad, if you want to go out for the meals, if you want to treat the kids, the grandkids, etc., you have that affordability to do it. So even though it says savers need their pensions to provide £12,000 a year, I actually think it's going to be a lot more than that. In terms of it, it heads down to the luxury side of things. And it says, well, actually, if you're on for the luxury side, you're going to start to need a lot more than that. You're going to start to have to save a lot more. But what I would do is, one of the things that I always say to people is, look, get a date in your head when you think you want to retire by. Now, let's just go to that 65-year-old. Now, we know it's obviously changed, but that was what was in everyone's head years ago when they first started work. I'm going to retire at 65. Well, if you live to the average age of 80-odd, then you're going to have 20 years. Now, but what I say to people is you don't want to just have the bare minimum for 20 years. What if you carry on for 30 years? What if you live to 95? So you've got 30 years of funding that you need to provide. Now, we know that obviously as people get older, they go on less holidays. You're going to have more holidays likely in your 60s than you are in your mid-90s. However, you don't want to scrimp and scrape to where the affordability is not there. Going back to my own personal family members, their main consideration when they got into their early 90s and mid-90s was, actually, am I going to be comfortable if I have to go into a home or something like that? I don't want to go into a locally run home. I want to go into something that I'm going to pay for and have the comfort of that. What I would say to everyone is, look, what is actually going to be your annual income? So if you say, well, actually, I would be happy on an annual income without mortgage payments, obviously, but I'll be happy on an annual income of £20,000. So I've got £20,000 for you. We're not including your partner on this, but this is you personally. And you do that over a 30-year period, then you're going to need £600,000. You're going to need something in there, liquidity, or you're going to need a regular income of £600,000. Now, that's not taking into account any kind of inflation or anything like that, but that's what you'll need. If there's two of you doing that and you've got a partner, you're going to need, obviously, your 1.2 million. Now, if you obviously change that and you say, well, actually, I actually want to have £30,000 personally over a period of 30 years, then of course that's going to be 900,000 for you and a partner. Again, you're looking at 1.8 million. Now, as soon as you start to look at those kind of figures, things dramatically change. You've suddenly got a whole different perspective, because the majority of people that are watching this video, the reason why you're watching is because you need ideas to invest. Therefore, the chances of someone saying, well, I've got £1.8 million liquid to go and invest is going to be slim. So it's not something that we put there to panic people. It's something that we can actually do. It doesn't take, 30, 40, 50 years of work. There's very few people, and it's the old adage that very few people can keep saving and keep it in savings accounts and become multi-millionaires in savings accounts. You need to earn the money. You've worked hard for that money. You now need to make it work hard for you. So what I would say at this stage is calculate the age that you want to retire, work out roughly, again, it's obviously impossible to say how long you're going to live for, but work out, say, actually, I want to be comfortable for 30 years, and then have a figure in mind that what you want to be comfortable on. And then we can work it backwards from there. So if you turn around and say, well, actually, let's say for you personally that you need £900,000 to be comfortable on, then maybe that's 3 properties that you need to invest in over the next sort of decade, which then accumulate growth, accumulate income, and that will get you to that stage. We're not talking about 30, 40 properties. You only need a handful of properties that can get you to that stage. So what I would say, as I say, at this stage is work out what you think that you are going to want net. Again, if you're earning that kind of money, you're going to pay tax on it as well. So work out what you want, work out over how many years, and then, of course, it's great that we can work our way backwards and start investing.